Origin just from CGX, and this is the secret stealth boat that flies underwater. Flies? Okay, this is channel not what you think. Obviously, I love this channel so far. Yeah, every topic that he covers, stealth ship, that he went to, like amphibious, he personally went there. It's like I like that type of like initiative, let's just say. And the other videos too about Osprey and things is great, and also the designation thing, right? Like what boat are supposed to be what. I guess he's a boat guy. I've been watching a boat video from him a lot. So this is another boat that flies underwater. How is it? Isn't that automatically means it's a submarine? If a boat goes underwater, it's automatically designation is submarine. But I don't know. So it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch it. Remember, flag marks and don't forget to subscribe. So I know which type of videos to react to more. I like military style videos. I've been watching that recently. If you haven't seen that, check out the link in the description. There you'll find it. And yeah, let's watch it.
Ghost, and her existence was classified for 4 years. Despite her looks, she's not a catamaran. Ghost is a boat attached to 2 giant submarines that for the most part fly underwater, through air. But why the US government slapped secrecy orders on this privately built boat, calling it dangerous, to the extent that they didn't even want allied countries to have her, and how this boat can fly underwater, is not what you think. The Ghost was built privately. In fact, the boat's inventor, Greg Sankoff, spent $5 million of his own money to hire engineers and naval experts to make the Ghost project happen. Of course, the idea was to eventually market it to the US military. But why did Sankoff think that the US Navy would be interested in his invention? On October 12, 2000, while docked at the port of Aden in Yemen, USS Cole was hit by a small boat that was loaded with explosives and piloted by 2 terrorists. The explosion from the suicide attack created a 40-foot wide hole near the waterline and severely damaged the $1 billion ship. 17 Americans.
Oh my god, that is insanity. Like they find any means necessary to basically do shit like this, right? A simple like a robot, right? They'll used a robot, rove boat, not robot. Yeah, so they just put a lot of explosive in it and just like try to blow it up. Like damn, that is some insane shit, man. All the first of all, why this, right? Of all the things they could have target, why this? That's the one thing. Like, are they really strategizing, like what to attack, what just to hit them right, or just like I don't know. Is there some grand plan or something? Because I don't know, it's just like whenever I hear about this type of like terrorist attacks, like why this? I always wonder that why that one? Is there a strategy behind it or just like anything they can think of at that time?
Sailors lost their lives and 40 other crew members were injured. In the aftermath of the attack, Greg Sankoff started wondering about a gunship which could neutralize this type of threat. Furthermore, Sankoff came across a US Navy wargame report called Juliet, which simulated the US Navy attacking a force of small, high-speed boats. The simulation estimated the US Navy suffering about 20,000 casualties in 2 days. This motivated Sankoff to start a new company, Juliet Marine Systems, named after the report itself, and the work began on a prototype which would eventually become the Ghost. The threat of small boats that could disable much larger warships is not a new idea. Small torpedo boats of the early 20th century did exactly that to the battleships. Until 2011, the Ghost project was.
Yeah, that's why I think you need destroyers, right? When you're trying to protect a fleet, destroyers' job is that to basically find this kind of like boats and things, torpedo boats and things that would attack you, right? In the old days, there was like schooner, that was it called, right? In like what 18th century or something, right? Schooner. Basically, they used to like explosive damage type of thing. Those were the small boats. So yeah, basically back then it would have been frigates. Now it's like destroyers, I guess. But yeah, that's their job.
Kept a secret. All the testing was happening at night. But on August 11th, 2011, the US Navy removed the secrecy order, and some $22 million of private money later, the Ghost made its first public appearance. A striking feature of this boat is stealth. The Ghost has a very low radar cross-section for its size, meaning that most larger ships won't pick her up on their radars. And while this makes Ghost a great candidate for reconnaissance operations, her primary mission is fleet defense. A squadron of Ghost-like craft could protect a flotilla of larger warships near shore against smaller maritime threats, be it terrorist boats or unmanned maritime systems. The Ghost can be equipped with a M197 20mm rotary cannon, as well as missiles like the Griffin or advanced precision kill weapon system rockets. Aside from fleet defense, the vessel can also conduct anti-submarine warfare, piracy protection, and mine countermeasures. Plus, it has a variety of sensors for reconnaissance purposes. Ghost can also carry 18.
I mean, come on, what pirate, basically, the Somalia type of, look at me, I'm the captain now. Which type of people basically see this like a blacked out whole like ghost named ship and just like, yeah, I'm gonna attack that. No, they're just like, you know what, I'll skip this one. Maybe the next one, I'll find some kind of like a fisherman ship or something, not this one. Because this thing looks sick. But all that gap below, wouldn't that cause like drag enough to, they would like make it unstable? I'm guessing that would limit its speed or something. And how is it like flies underwater? Isn't it like flying over the water? Like, I don't know. Did I miss something?
Navy SEALs, making for a great assault vehicle. That said, there was also plenty of criticism. When the Ghost was made public, critics immediately started pointing out that the vessel doesn't have the range or logistics to withstand blue water operations, at least not without some sort of mothership. While it's worth noting that this boat can fit inside the well deck of various amphibious assault ships and even be transported inside a C-17 cargo plane, the Ghost was developed to operate in very specific geographical areas. Which brings up the question, aside from stealth, what makes the Ghost superior to traditional patrol boats? Small patrol boats are quite unstable in high seas, moving up and down and side to side with the motion of the waves. This makes it incredibly difficult to drink a cup of coffee or launch any sort of weapons from patrol boats during higher sea state.
Yeah, this is why, when you play video game and if you, like in Witcher 3, you can't just take a robot and just like go from island to island. Obviously it's like weird, but yeah, you can't use small boats at like, large ocean area because of like all the waves. Your boat would be too small to, I guess, sustain. It might even, like sink or something. So about this, like this is like a now integrated thing now, or this is like still a concept, because it looks sick, man. I don't think any other boats or anything that's being widely used even looks like this. So just by psychological point of view, like anybody sees that, like, what the fuck is that, right? I don't know. It just looks cool.
The solution to that problem is using a ship design called Swath, which stands for Small Waterplane Area Twin Hull. Swath ships are different from catamarans in that they are less susceptible to wave motion due to their narrow waterline. The twin hulls that provide the bulk of the displacement are completely submerged, and this reduces the effects of wave action. The Ghost is effectively a boat that rides on two fins attached to two submarines which have 22 different underwater control surfaces. This makes for a complex design, since all of the machinery, such as two gas turbine engines, two giant 800-gallon fuel bladders, and propellers, have to be located inside the 62-foot submarine-shaped pontoon.
Oh my god, I just saw this top part. I didn't know it was like this big under. Look at this shit. It's like two small submarines fit to this thing. I mean, I remember watching some kind of like a, I don't know, like cargo type craft in like one of the Top Gear episode that also had this like a gap in the middle while two things basically touch the water type of, but it wasn't like this. It was different, right? This is literally like two submarines below it. This is like this would basically cut out all the wave disturbance, right?
But on the plus side, having the propulsion system underwater increases survivability. Since Swath rides below the water, the water impacts are greatly diminished because water
It
only
might also act like a jet, so water jet, right? So it might have like efficiency. Like if you're trying to like do it on top, right? You would like lose a lot of like power from friction, but that won't be the case if it's like below it. The powering engine is, if it's below it, like there will be like higher speeds. I don't know, efficiency would be there, I'm guessing.
hits the very sharp struts of the vessel, which produce negligible stability issues. This results in an incredibly smooth ride. You could drink coffee in 6-foot waves with no problem. The Ghost can handle waves up to 10 feet high with a maximum range of 500 miles.
Look at how it looks.
But there was a little problem. Propellers are typically placed aft of a boat, which push the vessel forward. But this would have created structural problems for the Ghost. So the propellers were instead placed in the front, effectively pulling the boat forward. But this unusual propeller placement created a revolutionary advantage, reducing drag with the help of cavitation. There are two ways to boil water. You could increase the temperature, or you could reduce the surrounding pressure. Either method generates bubbles. Cavitation, simply put, is the formation of bubbles on the propeller. When a propeller spins, it produces areas of lower pressure around its blades, causing the water to boil in ambient temperature. This creates a trail of bubbles. We said earlier that the boat flies through air, which wasn't exactly correct. What's inside the bubbles is not air, it's water vapor. Now, if the propeller is placed in the back of the boat, these bubbles are simply
I mean, what is air? Air is hydrogen, air is oxygen. So if it's like water vapor would be air, I mean, come on.
exhausted. But if you put the propellers in front of the vessel, just like it was done with the Ghost, they form underwater gas tunnels around the giant pontoons, which create 900 times less hull friction than if they were just moving through water. This gives the Ghost superior efficiency with a top speed of 40 knots, making it the fastest Swath ship on the planet. However,
There you go, see, the efficiency thing. If it's underwater, it would be efficient, but I didn't thought of the bubble thing. But yeah, that like reduces drag even more, so more efficient, I guess. So it would be stable, it would use less fuel, so that's just like awesome.
there are potential drawbacks to placing a propeller in the front of a boat, because if the boat hits something head-on, the boat is dead in water, not to mention hitting any fish nets or floating debris in the water. As a side note, hydrofoils were faster and have been around for a long time, but they had a similar issue with the foils getting damaged frequently. Juliet Marine Systems were even planning on designing future...
Nah, man, come on, don't say. Nah, man. Are you telling me all you need to do to defeat this boat is just like throw a fucking net in front of it? Oh my god, it's a ghost boat. What should I do? Here's a net. Bye. Is that it? That's insanity. I mean, yeah, obviously when I think about it, yeah, kind of like, yeah, if the rotor gets stuck, what you gonna do then? Damn. That's the whole point of stealth, man. You're not supposed to see it coming, I guess. Before, it does its job, I don't know.
future iterations of the Ghost to reach a speed of 70 knots. Spoiler alert, the whole company went under because the US military was not interested. But why? According to Jay Cohen, a retired US Navy Rear Admiral and Juliet Marine Systems advisor, it was either incompetence at its height or it's a Machiavellian plot. And you know what? It's somewhere in between the two.
Or both at
Back in
its peak.
2009, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, offered a contract to Juliet Marine Systems in exchange for all its patent rights.
You know what? We are not interested in this. This is stupid. But we could use stupid. I mean, we have proven in the past that stupid works. So you know what? We'll take patents. Why not? Maybe one day we'll use it for specific reason.
But Sankoff didn't want to lose his intellectual property because he saw commercial value in civilian applications of his patents. Instead, the Ghost was offered to the US Navy at a $10 million price tag. The US Navy's initial interest in the vessel eventually faded away for a variety of reasons. One reason was that they preferred large-hull blue water ships that were also capable of inshore operations, instead of a small craft that could only perform inshore missions. But the Navy was also quite apprehensive about working with new technologies, let alone startups, especially after the fiascos with Zumwalt and the littoral combat ships. The Navy
Navy said, let me get this straight. You want to give me a whole nother thing with whole nother technology that might have its own issues, more logistical issues, mechanical failures that we might have to work with. You know what now? Large ships, stronger hull, and I guess better radar. That's the and I guess we'll put few guys on top to look out. I guess we're not doing this shit.
Navy wasn't interested in Juliet's scaled-up 150-foot version of the Ghost either. After Sankoff rejected the offer from DARPA, the US government slammed secrecy orders over 4 patents, which prevented Juliet Marine Systems from publicizing its technology. The secrecy order was recommended by the Office of Naval Research, which called the Ghost technology dangerous. The secrecy orders were lifted and reinstated multiple times. According to Sankoff, he believed
I mean, I can see both ways. It's his pattern, his innovation. You can't really stop it. But at the same time, US also have to make sure that their own one of the people don't give some technology to their enemies that might be beneficial to them. So just like, I don't know, like struggle. I don't know.
that the US government simply wanted him to go out of business so no other countries could have his technology. In 2014, the US Department of State permitted foreign military sales discussions with South Korea. But
I'm sorry, that's like kind of like shitty. You don't want him to give to somebody else, like buy it even if you don't want it. US military constantly spend useless shit because they might need it one day. You could have done this, then just buy him the whole, right? At whatever money he's asking or something, 10 million, 20 million, rather than just going through this sneaky way. This is like, like I said, it's a both way. I can understand that defense thing, but then again, they could have bought it. So now it's like his side, right? He's getting screwed. This is anti-America in a way.
prior to any meetings, Juliet Marine Systems had to file paperwork with the State Department, which would in turn run it by the US Navy. The meetings were approved, but there were plenty of caveats, including things that prevented the company from talking to foreign buyers about the Ghost boat or its supercavitating hull technology. It was a catch-22. Having such business challenges, in 2016, Juliet Marine Systems was forced to lay off 17 of its 20 employees and then go to court against the US government. In 2021, the Ghost was listed for sale for a bargain price of $2 million. Currently, the Ghost is permanently located on display in Albacore Park next to USS Albacore in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's ironic how history repeats itself. In the early 20th century, the invention of torpedoes allowed small boats to launch a weapon which could cripple much larger cruisers and battleships. In response, a new class of ships was invented, torpedo boat destroyers, whose mission was to haunt torpedo boats. Over time, the destroyers got larger and heavier, to the point that now they need a small and fast boat to protect them from the attack boats and unmanned maritime systems.
I mean, this is insane. They go to like, oh, advanced big destroyers versus like your conventional small destroyers rather than just like scaling shit, right? This happens in everything. Like even in bikes, right? They start with like 250 cc's, then they go to 300, 400, 500. Before you know it, they're like 500, 600 segments, so they go back to 250, right? That happens all the even in the cars and things. So this shit happens all the time, but yeah.
So it's likely just a matter of time before boats like the Ghost become part of many navies around the world.
Yeah, man, that shit is insane. Not gonna lie, I love that whole thing. I think U.S. military could have used it. It's like, genius. I mean, sure, like you would have find a problem, and I don't think U.S. military is really keen on risking shit. So I kind of see that, but I don't know. They could have handled that bit better, right? And also, like that's your local, basically your own country's innovation. Like you need to like treat that better. so people don't like get deterred, in the future, I guess. Like, this is how we're gonna get treated after like spending this much research and shit. All right, well, that was a secret stealth boat that flies underwater, but I don't know what you think. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't seen other reactions like this, check out the link in the description or end the card right now, I guess, and I'll see you next time.